and gentlemen, it's the Stephanie Miller Show. I'm walking on sunshine. I'm walking on sunshine.
Oh, everybody. Happy Friday. Yep. Looky here. Job market heats up in April. Unemployment rate drops to 6.3%.
Yeah.
Obamacare just saved the U.S. economy from contraction, reads another headline. You know what that means?
What?
Benghazi. Yep, sure enough. There's a headline. New Benghazi emails could derail Hillary in 2016.
Fox News was all over that yesterday.
Good luck with this. I think, you know what, we better get ready.
Benghazi.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
This has been a test of the right-wing troll notification system. Had this been an actual issue, you would have been instructed where to tune in your area for half-baked information. This concludes this test of the right-wing troll notification system.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, Jim, speaking of which, who said our Democratic friends, for the most part, have been in the tank over Benghazi? The scumbags are the people in the White House who lied about this. Yikes.
Glenn Beck.
No, good guess, though.
Senator Lindsey Graham.
Senator,
oh, my God.
Senator Huckleberry Butch-me-up.
Yes.
Wow. He's getting heat.
Let me show you how it's done in a manly way.
He's really butching up. Somebody's getting teabagged. Wowee. Only one man to go to now. Yeah.
Just all right with me. Just all right. Oh yeah. Just all right with me.
Just all right.
Just all right.
He's not just all right. He's fine. Good morning, John Fugelsang.
That's kind of what that meant in the 60s.
Good morning. I'm John Fugelsang. I was wrong about impeaching Clinton and invading Iraq and Obama not being born in America. And I used to be mad that George Bush was warned about 9/11 and ignored it, and that 60 people were killed in embassy attacks during the Bush years and Republicans didn't care. But now that I'm high on Benghazi, I realize that 9/11 doesn't count as a terrorist attack, and President Bush should only be judged by what happened after that day. And that's nothing compared to the blood Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have on their hands for plotting and carrying out the Benghazi attack. Because remember, blame Obama, blame Clinton, just don't ever blame the terrorists. Benghazi!
John Fugelsang!
For the win!
Gentlemen, for the win!
FTW!
Nothing but net. And by the way, those cheers are from Chicago theaters still. Fugelsang has left the building, my friends.
That was quite a crowd in Chicago.
Yeah, it was.
Wowee. What a time was had by all. John Fugelsang. Wow. That was, see what you just did there? That's why you are the Fugelsangian one. I mean, it really is incredible, right? You go, two good news for America headlines. It's like going to be all Benghazi all the time, right?
Yep, as long as you don't ever blame the terrorists. That's the one rule, Republicans, don't forget. And don't ever mention the fact that it was the CIA and Petraeus that authored the theory about the video.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this really is incredible. It becomes a joke where you think, oh, no, they're not going to bring this up again. And, here we go, right? The president's...
Well, what are they going to do, come up with new ideas? They still have to keep the trickle-down going.
I know. Here he is, Jake Harney, yesterday.
The talking points that Ambassador Rice used,
oh, here we go
again, produced by the intelligence community for members of Congress, and in the interest of having everybody use the same information used by the administration and Ambassador Rice on those Sunday shows, were divulged.
How many smoking guns can we have? It's this is the hot. Now it's the right. I mean, John, honestly, this is like we were just reading stories yesterday. They really thought Obamacare was going to be a slam dunk, and it is incredible. The one I'm reading this morning.
Exploding birdseed.
Yeah, Obamacare just saved the U.S. economy from contraction.
Damn it!
The U.S. economy teetered on the brink of contraction in the first quarter, one thing stood out: healthcare spending increased at the fastest pace in more than 3 decades. That surge attributed to the implementation of President Obama's healthcare law. Because of Obamacare, the nation narrowly avoided its first decline in output in 3 years. GDP growth would have been negative were it not for healthcare spending. And then the real stories are starting to come out, John, and people are starting to use them, right?
Mm-hmm.
About,
Exactly right. And, again, it's like These guys have nothing to run on. They have no new ideas. The important thing to drill into the heads of all your Republican friends, Steph heads, is that they want to do exactly what Bush did and call it something else. There's no difference in economic policy between these guys and what Bush did.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, the president's Carney one more time yesterday.
What hasn't changed has been the effort by Republicans to claim a conspiracy when they haven't been able to find one.
Well, I mean, that's the main thing, John. It's as we have said over and over again, there obviously was a huge fog of confusion as this was all happening. They keep trying to make everything conspiratorial that has been disproven over and over.
But if Lindsay had been there,
I give the Obama administration credit for making it so easy for these guys to keep on harping on Benghazi. There were over 20 different protests in the Middle East at different U.S. embassies that day. At our embassy in Egypt, protesters actually swarmed the embassy. Over the video, they climbed up and pulled down the American flag and put up an Islamist flag. This was happening all over the place, and it was reasonable for Petraeus and the CIA, again, the guys who said this first and gave the notes to Susan Rice, to believe that that was what was going on. These guys are exploiting this the way they exploited 9/11 to invade Iraq. They're exploiting 9/11 2012 to attack Obama and Clinton. And it's really disgusting, and it's deeply un-American. And again, these guys don't give a damn about embassy security, or else they'd be mad at the GOP for voting down funding.
I was reading a Salon headline, John. GOP candidates freak out moment as Obamacare horror stories flop. What's left? Well, this is it. I mean, now they've moved on from Obamacare horror stories, all of which have mostly been proven bogus, and now we're back to this, right?
And they should be thrilled about Obamacare because it proves that their theory was right. The liberals wanted single payer. The Democrats wanted a public option. As we pointed out on your wonderful show many times, Steph, Obamacare is the GOP plan. It is the private market plan. It is the Mitt Romney plan, the Heritage Foundation plan, the make people pull themselves up by their bootstraps to be responsible and buy private insurance plans. I keep telling all my anti-Obamacare friends, why are you such socialists? Why do you want to go back to the days of uninsured showing up at the emergency rooms and the local taxpayers pick up the check?
Yep, exactly.
Filthy Republican socialists.
Daryl Ice is a little Benghazi chubby again. Isn't that cute?
He does.
Isn't that cute?
It is disturbing and perhaps criminal that these documents, that documents like these were hidden by the Obama administration from Congress and the public alike.
Perhaps, or criminal-ish, like many of the other investigations I've started and have gone nowhere. It seems...
Perhaps it could be under certain circumstances in a kind of way.
Right.
If, blah, blah, blah.
Right, just like the Bush administration would actually, there wouldn't be actual terror threats, but they'd be threat-ish type situations that would involve
terror-ish, threat-ish kind of situation.
Yeah, like a presidential daily briefing on August 6, 2001, telling you exactly what was going to happen, and you go on a month-long vacation.
Yeah.
You're welcome, America.
I'm glad someone decided the decider was going to do nothing about that.
Here he is, noted Southern belle, Lindsey Graham.
This is the closest thing to a smoking gun I've seen. This was an email trying to shape the story away from what would have been a damaging admission of failure of foreign policy 7 weeks before an election. That's why it's important.
They got the information direct from our intelligence sources.
Yeah, I love
it. Wasn't shaping anything. It was what they knew at the time.
4,000 soldiers dead in Iraq, and these guys aren't mad about the WMD lie. These guys will exploit any kind of tragedy, any kind of American death. The carnage and slaughter of Americans are money to these guys, and that's all it is. They are the worst kind of anti-American scum out there, and their taste in music sucks, and they wear bad suits.
John Fugel saying, the thing that strikes me, though, is you can tell that Lindsey Graham is obviously getting teabagged, because you go, this is a United States senator that's calling people in the White House scumbags and liars.
Lindsey Graham, keep in mind, is one of the only prosecutors of the Clinton impeachment who's still in Congress, and, his credibility speaks for itself. He is so despised by the Tea Party, and he is so despised by the Republicans because they believe certain unproven things about his sexuality that he is going to wallow in the Benghazi muck as much as he can and pander to the worst elements of his party to save his own skin.
I don't know what you're saying. I think the Clinton thing, clearly he's outraged at BJ's. I think he clearly...
Right.
His distaste for that was clear. He's horrified.
I would have been disgusted with Lindsey Graham by heterosexual oral sex in the White House as well.
He had to hear about the BJ's over and over again just to reinforce how horrified he was.
I'm so horrified about Benghazi. Oh, did I say men? Oops.
All right, 16 minutes after the hour.
I still have no idea what you're implying.
I don't know either. It's so subtle. What are we saying exactly? All right, 16 minutes after the hour, Fridays with Fugelsang continues. This hour of the Stephanie Miller Show brought to you by ProFlowers. Why?
Why?
Mom's Day coming up. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up, John. Do it.
I won't.
You better get these to Asheville in time, my friend. Okay. Fill her special day with 1 dozen assorted colored roses with a free glass vase from ProFlowers. It's upstairs right now. You can go see how beautiful it is.
Really? You should take a picture and tweet it.
Okay. Listen, I'm in the middle of talking about this. I can't multitask. Anyway, with a free glass vase from ProFlowers.com for just $19.99. If Mom has a green thumb, upgrade to the pink potted rose or yellow potted rose plant for just $9.99 more. Use my code Stephanie. You get this special Mother's Day deal. Order now while supplies last. ProFlowers guarantee to last a full week or your money back. They are freshly picked bouquets, perfect for Mother's Day. Ordering is easy. Pick up your delivery date. It's guaranteed. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Here's the only way to get this amazing Mother's Day special. Go to ProFlowers.com, click on the blue microphone in the top right-hand corner, type in Stephanie. ProFlowers.com, blue mic in the top right-hand corner, type in Stephanie. This deal expires Friday at midnight. Make sure you order today. 17 minutes after the hour, we roll along. Fridays with Fugelsang on the Stephanie Miller Show. Yeah. Dean Obadala coming up at the top of the hour, and Bob Shrum in hour number 3.
Yeah.
Political consultant. 1-800-IN-PUNDIT. Okay.
And columnist for the Daily Beast.
There you go. 1-800-STEP-1-2, the phone number. Toll free from anywhere. Fridays with sexy liberal John Fugelsang, who ripped it up at the Chicago Theater. Very, very exciting this past Saturday night, along with extra mookage here. Yes, indeed.
It was great to see Jim and Chris on stage.
Some beautiful pictures of John Fugelsang up at Sexy Liberal Facebook, sexyliberal.com, and also Stephanie Miller Show Facebook. Do it. Go look at them. Try not to look. It's like looking into an eclipse, so don't stare too long at John Fugelsang. It's too much. Let's see. Jennifer in Tyler, Texas, John, says, Mom and the Mooks, after you bring Sexy Liberal Tour to Texas to celebrate Wendy Davis becoming our next governor, you should go to Beaver, Utah and visit Beaver Taco. She sent me a nice...
Oh, my.
Yeah, there's
Nice beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
Right, it's a sign. It says Beaver Taco, eat fresh.
Wow, over at Euphemism Junction.
Wow.
Oh, I hope there is such a thing as a Governor Wendy Davis, don't you, John?
I do. I'd love to see it happen.
I was watching, I don't know if you've seen All About Ann, the HBO documentary about Ann Richards. It is amazing, and it just makes you go, oh, God. You know, if it weren't for...
Well, I miss her, and, you know, Texas has produced lots of really strong, dynamic, progressive women over the years, and I'd love to see Wendy Davis be a part of it. And I'm hoping that she's strong enough to handle all the garbage they're going to throw at her.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, you look at when you watch this documentary, you look at what Karl Rove did and George W. did to Ann Richards, and you're like, oh, if only, you know, she had won and gone on to be president instead of...
Yeah, that really ruins my opinion of Karl Rove and George W. Bush.
I know. I'm sorry. I know you have to go back some, don't you, to think of things that would make you...
Look, I'm not myself this week in general, Steph. I got to be honest. Donald Sterling has made me ashamed to be a racist billionaire. And just really, really awkward.
Yeah, we have not had a chance to talk about that.
Did you see the news that broke last night?
No, what's that
He's been battling prostate cancer for quite some time now.
So. Oh, my God. Is the tumor okay?
And Leon Jenkins, the president of the L.A. chapter of the NAACP, has resigned.
Oh, okay.
Because of the award they were going to give him.
You know, I pointed this out on the Katie Couric show. It's airing today that George W. Bush's Department of Justice were the ones who brought charges up against Donald Sterling for racism and housing discrimination in the Koreatown apartments he owned, and he had to pay a fine of almost $3 million. It was the biggest fine ever paid for housing discrimination. So even the Bush administration thought this guy was too racist.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing, John. When you read the details of that, it's fairly horrifying. And there was a piece in the Daily Beast about his wife, Rochelle. And they write, if Mrs. Sterling has any intention of attending more playoff games, much less holding on to the team, she needs to explain her role in her husband's effort to push out minority tenants. So, I obviously think they need a clean slate, but. This is what I had heard, even before this latest piece. But as had been widely reported, Donald Sterling's former property supervisor testified in that housing suit when someone remarked on the odor at a newly acquired building. Sterling said, "Oh, it's because of all the blacks in the building. They smell. They're not clean. It's because of all the Mexicans that just sit around and smoke and drink all day." What had not been widely reported is her testimony regarding Rochelle Sterling's unusual role in managing the properties. She declares that when she worked for Sterling, she often accompanied Rochelle Sterling on apartment inspections. Rochelle Sterling would regularly pose as a government official in order to gain access to tenants' apartments. And during the inspection, Sterling directed her to record, among other things, tenants' ethnicity. The judge noted the plaintiff's contention that the true purpose of the bogus official inspections Rochelle Sterling conducted was to harass and intimidate African-American and Latino tenants. And the evidence in the discrimination suit included a video filmed by a black tenant that shows her posing as a health inspector. Yikes. It's just like
Bottom line is, it's going to have to be a clean break, Steph, because Donald Sterling has driven away more sponsors than Lindsay Lohan did at Betty Ford. It seems strange that a guy could hate black folks this much and own an NBA team, but in fairness, he's older, his eyesight's poor. He thought it was hockey, apparently. I love the tape. And I love the girlfriend or the property or whatever she was that made the tape. I think it's great when evil billionaires wind up with the right evil arm candy. It's romantic. But I just wish he could have ended that tape by telling her, don't bring any Redskins to my game either, because then we could keep this thing moving forward. If we could take all the outrage over the Donald Sterling tape and direct it towards, our racist drug war, our racist sentencing, our racial income inequality gaps, we might actually see some real social change here. And I'd love to see it happen. But I think what they should do is let his girlfriend date whoever she wants, make him watch, put it on pay-per-view, and balance the budget.
Oh, didn't you hear yesterday? She said that she is going to become president of the United States.
Yes, at her Daft Punk helmet, I heard her say
yes. Yes, so that she can, cure racial inequality once and for all in America.
It's a beautiful thing.
But by the way, Chris, what you just said kind of, adds new meaning to this whole. He's 81, and he apparently has prostate cancer. But John, the news yesterday is he's going to fight this. He's going to try to keep this in court forever. You're like, really? This is what you're going to do with your last moments on Earth?
Well, and that's his right, and he's allowed to do it. And again, I agree with Kareem. Think about how angry we get at the NSA, and just look at how there's no privacy left at all in this country. I mean, if you listen to the tape, I'm sorry, that woman, Ms. Diviano, really was baiting this doddering old bigot and trying to get him to say the most offensive things while she plays her Gandhi act. It's very, very vulgar all around. It's a bunch of nasty, nasty people. But the fact is, I'm proud to live in a society where we get angry about this. 40 years ago, this wouldn't have been a big deal that he said things like this. Well, and today, it gives me hope in America.
Well, I mean, that was what was out there yesterday. Everybody's saying, should, somebody lose their livelihood or their business over a private phone conversation? But I mean, that's the other thing, is apparently he knew she was taping it.
Mm-hmm. Well, she was the archivist, I guess.
Right,
This goes back to the whole issue. There is free speech, and there are consequences to free speech, and adults need to learn the line.
I'm just happy to know that archivist arm candy is a new career option for the gals. Okay.
Well, I mean, come on. You listen to the tape. He doesn't care if he sleeps with black men. He just doesn't want them bringing him to the games.
Yep.
I mean, he's a really bad racist, first off.
All right, more Fridays with Bugle saying next on the Stephanie Miller Show. Sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I was just reading my own press. Sorry.
All right.
I'm just comparing the difference between our ratings and Fresh Limbo. It's not important now.
Oh.
Okay. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. 34 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEPH-12, the phone number. Fridays with sexy liberal John Fugel saying, good morning, John.
Good morning, Steffers. Good morning, Steph heads out there. And again, great job in Chicago the other night. I'm very excited to finally bring this beast of a tour back to Albuquerque.
Oh, my God.
Next weekend.
Golly, next Saturday. Very exciting.
I love Albuquerque so much.
Too.
I fell in love there once. I played at the Revolution International Theater Festival there, the Free Speech Comedy Festival, and when we brought our show there, God, over 2 years ago, it was such a riot. I'm so ready to go back there.
We had a great time.
Their silly governor.
Exactly. We had a great time there with Hal. We had a great time with Aisha, remember, in Santa Fe.
That's right.
So Santa Feasians, this is a whole new show with John and Carlos and I.
Is that a thing?
What?
Santa Feasians?
Santa Feasians. That's what I'm calling it.
It ought to be.
Yes. So come on, get them last tickets. John Fugelsang, you tweeted, is this botched execution murder? You often talk about that Jesus, obviously, got the death penalty. But this was pretty...
not huge on the death penalty. In fact, if there was no death penalty, there's a chance Jesus might still be here.
Right.
And Christians, he didn't say, forgive us our trespasses as we lethally inject those who trespass against us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was horrifying, I think, even no matter what side of the issue you're on. This took him fully, 45 minutes to die?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so now, of course, you will hear right-wing outrage left and right today because the family of the inmate is eyeing a lawsuit over the botched execution.
Well, they should, because when you look at the paper trail of how this governor did everything to intimidate legislators and the judges from blocking this execution, our European friends are really turned off by how much we enjoy killing sinners, and they stopped selling us the drugs. And so we now have this own mystery cocktail of drugs to kill people. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it does, because guess what? No one's ever come back from an execution injection to write a review of the experience on Yelp. So, they actually had to lower the blinds because the guy's veins were exploding. It was unpleasant for the viewers to watch. No one's saying this guy was innocent of the crimes. No one's saying he didn't do horrible, horrible things. But, America is one of the only first world democracies that still kills people who kill people to prove that killing people is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and by the way, just so you know, the stepmother of Clayton Lockett said, I'm not seeking financial gain from this. My main thing is I want the process changed. And same thing with the relatives of the guy in Ohio. Remember, John, who was executed in January? Same thing, untested combination of drugs. It filed suit against the state. Dennis McGuire, it took 25 minutes for him to die. He seemed to gasp for air. They also said they're not interested in collecting damages, just in getting the court to bar the chemicals from being used again. So that case pending. Meanwhile, Ohio's prison agency just announced its internal review, found it was humane, and is moving ahead with a more lethal injection using the same drug combination, but just more.
Yeah.
It costs less to incarcerate someone for life than to put them to death, and the fact that it's administered so unevenly. There's 22,000 murders a year in this country, and 100 people are sentenced to the death penalty every year. And it's done randomly and unfairly, and this is what should turn conservatives off.
But by the way, that's important what you just said. That's important what you just said, because I don't think people know that, because you hear them screaming all the time on right-wing radio about, we're going to pay to keep these scumbags in prison their whole life, and you're absolutely right. It costs more to execute them, right?
It does cost more to execute them. Death penalty trials are very costly, and the appeals process as well. And you're not going to limit appeals, okay? We have a constitution here. But the fact is that if you're a conservative and you don't like big government, my question is, what's bigger government than being able to strap a guy down to a table, a random sinner, this sinner, not that sinner, this murderer, not that murderer, strap a guy down to a table, inject him with poison that taxpayers pay for in front of spectators, and let him writhe on the table until he's dead? It doesn't get bigger government than that. When a government can murder you in front of an audience, that's big government.
Yeah, did you see they lit up the Colosseum in Rome? Every time that we strike down a death penalty in one of our states, because they know a little something about what happened at the Colosseum, but they're obviously very vehemently anti-death penalty. But interesting, these lawsuits, one of the lawyers said it's largely an uncharted area because there's not a whole lot of prospect of winning. He said death row inmates often have distant relationships with family who can't argue economic losses from their death, and I don't think any court will want to award too much to the family of a killer. But again, I think it's beside the point. It seems like in both of these cases right now, they're just trying to get them to stop this, or to, I mean, they're not looking for money.
Well,
John.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and again, I accept the fact that the majority of Americans support the death penalty. I know every Democratic president in my lifetime, I think, has supported it. That's one of the great ironies of this society. Carlin used to say America was founded by slave owners who wanted to be free. Our modern irony is that you can't be president unless you're a follower of Jesus who believes in murdering the sinner.
Yeah, and anyway. So we were saying a lot of good news this morning on jobs numbers. The unemployment went down to 6.3. We added, I think, good God, more than 288,000?
Something like that, yeah.
Jobs last month. Obamacare just saved the U.S. economy from contraction is the other headline. So obviously it's going to be all Benghazi all the time. But otherwise, John, things just not looking so good. We have all these doom and gloom, storylines in the media. And meanwhile, Jeb Bush's steep challenge for 2016, new Wall Street Journal NBC News poll. Oh, this is sad. Mr. Bush, or should have been him, smart one.
Mm-hmm. And Jebby.
Enjoys little of the goodwill his older brother George W. did in the lead up to his 2000 presidential campaign. Among Republicans, particularly motivated ones, the former Florida governor lags likely competitors such as Rand Paul, and he can't hold a candle to the warmth that Hillary Clinton summons among her partisans, to say nothing of young voters, women, and Hispanics. So, they keep having a new great white hope in every cycle, don't they? They think is somehow...
It's a consistently white hope in every cycle, yeah.
Today,
but it's really more like a great white recycle in every cycle.
Yeah. Article reads, today in part because the Bush name overall has taken a beating, you think.
Yeah.
Nearly a third of Americans hold a negative view of him, while just 21% have a positive view. So, but it does seem like that's what they think everybody's going to be the savior. Chris Christie was, right, the one before that, which seems to, I don't know what, the shine seems to be off.
Bloom is off the rose.
I think Chris Christie will still run, and I still think he can run. But it's coming down to
never seen him run.
Race between Jeb Bush for the establishment GOP, Mike Huckabee for the evangelical right-wing Christian demographic, and Rand Paul for the Tea Party borderline nutjob demographic that exists there as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a real slugfest in terms of seeing who can raise the most funds between these three parties. Mike Huckabee is definitely running.
I think Jim is correct. I'm not sure Chris Christie will run. I think he will take a helicopter and then a limo and then perhaps a
hover around.
And then maybe a motorized scooter. All right. Van Jones on CNN talking about the Republican strategy.
It looks like all spring and all summer the Republicans are going to take every problem on the world stage and use it as an excuse not to come together, not to solve America's problems, but just to blame President Obama. The Ukraine, Benghazi, whatever it is, same script. Obama's making America look weak. No, you guys are doing that. That's what you're doing. America looks weak when we jump into these dumb wars that we can't pay for or win. America looks weak when we got an opposition party at home that won't help the president in the war, in peace, overseas, or at home.
I love him.
Don't you?
I do. He makes me squee. But yeah, he's right. He's absolutely right. Let's take Rich in Philadelphia for John. Hey, Rich, you're on with John.
Hey, Steph, how you doing?
Good.
I'm an advocate of the death penalty. I feel you got to remove some of these people. If we were killing human beings, I wouldn't feel bad. But what this guy done to that girl, it was unbelievable. And there's no place.
You are correct about that.
And also, these guys kill prison guards. They kill other prisoners. They do what they want. And now, I'm not an anti-abortionist guy, but when Kermit Gosnell in Philly was sticking needles in the back of almost full-term babies, where was the left then yelling about killing and murder and where were they then?
Was there anyone on the left defending Kermit Gosnell, mister?
Right.
Everyone said he should deserve to go to jail.
Absolutely.
No one defended him.
Everybody on the left said the exact same thing.
Hey, mister, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you celebrate Christmas?
I wouldn't call myself religious. I wouldn't call myself a Christian, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus. If we lived the way, I don't think he was divine. I think he was another man, but he taught the right way to go.
It was a simple
I
question.
agree with you. But you disagree with Jesus about the death penalty, right? I mean, Jesus stopped an execution and said only people who've never sinned have a right to kill other people.
Oh, that's what he says. He who sins throw the first stone. I understand that.
But you're disagreeing with that because you're saying, have you ever sinned in your life?
Of course I have.
So how can you agree with Jesus and then support execution?
Because I believe when you have a mad dog, you destroy it. Well, when you have a mad human, what would you have done with Adolf Hitler?
Listen, and I'm with you. Go ahead. You can believe that all you want. I'm just saying that's an area where you don't agree with Jesus. You don't believe in redemption. You know, we used to call prisons penitentiaries. I don't think murderers should be allowed out. I think if you kill someone, you got to stay locked up, deprived of your freedom as long as that victim remains dead. I'm just pointing out the fact that for those who claim to follow Jesus, he was pretty specific on this, and most of our allies don't do this anymore, and it doesn't save us money. It only satisfies revenge, and it's not a deterrent. So go ahead and support it all you want.
We could talk about the Europeans all we want. But they're the most barbaric people in the world because that's where all the wars start.
Oh, listen, Iran loves the death penalty.
We could talk about France, we could talk about Germany, we could talk about all, but that's where all the wars start, with the civilized Europeans. And I don't want to become Europe.
You know,
they don't have the death penalty.
Iraq executed Saddam Hussein. Are we like Iraq?
Sharia law.
Oh, Sharia law.
Sharia law.
Okay, all right.
All right. Oh, heavens, we have to... We have to break. Okay. You know, you best bring it if you're going up.
Him before he could call the Bush family as witnesses for the defense.
Exactly.
You best bring it when the ecclesiastical mook is up in here. All right. 46 minutes after the hour. Back with more Fridays with People Saying on the Stephanie Miller Show. Yeah. Okay. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. 50 minutes after the hour. Comedian Dean Obadala at the top of the hour has a new piece. Obama will weaponize comedy at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yes.
You know who my comedy weapon is? John Fugelsang. He's my nuke. He's my comedy nuke.
Yeah. Stephen the Nukes.
Stephen the Nukes.
I think I'm going to be on MSNBC's White House Correspondents' Dinner pre-show tomorrow afternoon. So if you're hanging out and ignoring the nice weather and being inside with the TV, please tune in to watch me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would love that. By the way, speaking of which, because I just weaponized you on that last guy, that anyone that just calls to talk religion with John Fugelsang, it's always a thing of beauty.
Yeah. Well, he didn't call it talk religion. You know what? He didn't call it talk religion, and in fairness, but, you know, it's like, I'm not going to tell people don't support the death penalty. It's a very powerful thing, and people really have this strong desire for revenge. I'm just one of those Americans who knows revenge doesn't work, and it doesn't bring a dead person back, and it doesn't improve our humanity as a society.
And I keep saying the same thing you just said, John. I think life in prison is worse. I don't see why people think that, you know, that's a better solution. But anyway.
Well, look, I mean, I know this guy did horrible things, and no one's disputing that this man tortured and killed this poor woman. But the fact is, we are supposed to be better than they.
Yeah.
We're supposed to not be the evil murderers.
No, I said that. Yes, I heard, you know, of course, a right-wing talk show was saying, so what? He suffered. She suffered. And right, but that's the point of society. We're supposed to be better than that. Yeah.
You know, it's like,
it makes you know better than him.
Or are you just going to call yourself the good guys?
Yeah. By the way,
we did learn that the Europeans start all the wars.
Your pants.
Your pants.
Your pants start all the wars.
Okay. Oh, that's fantastic.
Not my pants. Your pants start the wars.
George W. Bush would be surprised to hear that.
Started the American Civil War. You know, that was our we lost, what, 500,000 people in the Civil War? Did Japan start that one?
That one didn't count.
Germany?
That one didn't count. There were no Europans.
But I saved this piece for you, John. I don't know if you saw it, Nicholas Kristof last Sunday, but it reminded me so much of you. Religion for 1,000, Alex. He writes, secular Americans are largely ignorant about religion, but in surveys, religious Americans turn out to be scarcely more knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. Americans are both deeply religious and profoundly ignorant about religion, wrote the the author. One of the most religious countries on earth is also a nation of religious illiterates. And we learn that every week when someone calls to talk to John. Nearly 2/3 of Americans say they believe the Bible holds the answer to all or most of life's basic questions, yet 1/3 know that Jesus delivered the Sermon on the Mount, and 10% think that Joan of Arc was Noah's wife.
Wow. Wow.
Many Americans know even less about other faiths, from Islam to Hinduism, and then, you know, we were talking about the guy that killed the Sikh after 9/11 because he was wearing a turban. I mean, it's
morons.
Yeah. And John, you talk about that all the time, people misquoting the Bible or using it for, you know, to mean something that it didn't mean, right?
Well, everyone of every religion, and again, all my atheist friends, what they hate about religion is how it's all buffet. People pick and choose the parts of their holy books they want to follow. And that's true. But for every right-wing Christian who wants to use the Bible to justify selfishness or exclusion or looking down on gay people or to justify war and violence, you'll find ways to use the Bible to justify acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, and love. And this is the struggle with Islam. It's the struggle with every religion right now. The people who are picking and choosing the parts for love versus the people who are picking and choosing the parts for meanness.
Yep.
By the way, Joan Van Ark was Noah's wife.
That's
Joan
right.
Van Ark
Thank
was,
you,
in fact,
Jim.
Noah's wife.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
And it was
for that
really mean that
information.
she didn't get a part in the movie.
Peg in Illinois, you're on with John. Hi, Peg.
Hi, Steph, John. I think I remember that Michael Dukakis was against the death penalty, and they trotted out that meme, like, what if Kitty was raped and all this, these horrible...
In the debate, I believe it was Sam Donaldson who asked, and Dukakis was standing there like a deer in the headlights with nothing.
Yeah.
Bernie,
and
what's his name?
Clinton triangulating after that because of that very setup.
Well, you'll never see a Democratic presidential nominee who's completely opposed to the death penalty again.
Yeah, and I do feel my mother was a lifelong hardcore Catholic, and I was the one that had to bring to her attention that the Catholics are against the death penalty. They really
Every bit as much. The Pope's every bit as much against the death penalty as against abortion. That's true.
Yeah.
The difference is abortion are private individuals doing it, and the death penalty is the state and the government doing it with taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we were saying, wasn't it, Jim, the Saturday Night Live sketch? Remember they did a parody of it, and they kept making more and more horrible things happen to Kitty Dukakis to see if they get a reaction from him. I mean, it's just, but
It was very funny. But you're
right. He didn't show the proper amount of blood.
But
he didn't show the proper amount of bloodthirstiness for an American, right? Regarding the
you know what though? Here's the thing: Americans are decent people, and I will tell you. The support for the death penalty, but I also understand that if you showed executions on live TV, you'd have 75% of the population opposed to it within a year.
Yep. John, someone's trying to call you to tell you you're on the Stephanie Miller Show.
They will be put to death.
Giggle, giggle, giggle.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Jerome in Illinois, you're on with John. Hello, Jerome.
Good morning, Stephanie and crew.
Good morning.
Hey, I love your show. I believe in 99% of all what you say. I'm a union member.
Well, then you're only wrong 1% of the time.
Well, that point is nobody agrees with everybody all the time.
That's right. All right, go ahead.
Okay. With that being the case, it's like being a Christian, and in this case, I believe in capital punishment. I look at when Jesus talks about thou shalt not, kill, is really thou shalt not murder, because killing has always been sanctioned by government or officials.
That's not Jesus. That's the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Okay, when you look at Romans, the 13th chapter, obey your government, verses 1 through 5, it talks about...
That's not Jesus. That's Paul.
Okay, once again, you can't separate,
Oh, yeah, it is. Why? A, it's Friday. B, job market heats up in April. Unemployment rate drops to 6.3% from 6.7%. We added 288,000 jobs last month. Obamacare going very, very well, thank you. And so Benghazi is back.
Which is why he must be impeached.
Exactly.
Because everything's going so horribly.
Mm-hmm. And the White House Correspondents' Dinner, of course, is tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Who better to talk about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here he comes, Mrs. Speed Obadala. Yes, it's Dino Badala. Dino Badala.
Whee! Good morning, Dean.
Good morning. How are you guys? It's a glorious day, isn't it?
It is.
House report. It's Friday. Republicans are angry. Democrats are happy. What more could you want?
Donald Sterling is a Republican. Sorry, Rush. Nice try.
That's great. So you got that going for him. It's really. I think it's a good day. Maybe it's the optimism of being a comedian on Friday. And Fugelsang was just on, right?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and by the way,
back to follow.
And
I
all the
can't listen.
all the nutcakes in front of Craven Bundy's ranch have started fighting with each other over different nutty conspiracy theories.
Yeah, one of the conspiracy theories is that Eric Holder was going to send in a drone attack.
Oh, right.
And some of the people out there are saying, no, you guys are crazy for thinking that.
Oh, that's not true?
And they're fighting.
Oh, wow.
It's not. Oh, that would be great if they did, just for fun. Like, not shoot anyone, just buzz them a few times.
Just buzz them. Just kidding.
Like, just see what happens.
Okay.
It would be. They should. I wish they would fight it out. They could put it on pay-per-view. Just let the crazies fight it out in a cage there. A cage match. Whoever wins is king of the crazies.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Your headline.
News.
Your headline, of course, Obama will weaponize comedy at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I agree with your first line. You said the president is the most effective of them all at using humor to destroy his enemies. Expect him to do it again tomorrow night. I think he is hilarious. I really do.
I think he's funny too, and for people on the right, and they're monitoring this show as always, they're going to be angry. Like, I can't believe you're going to say Obama's the funniest president ever. I'm being objective. It's not about sense of humor or not. It's how he uses comedy. Like, I watched tons of the past White House Correspondents' Dinners in writing this article, and presidents in the past have used mainly self-deprecating jokes. They make fun of themselves. Bush was great. Actually, he had no problem making fun of him being intellectually challenged, his problem speaking English. Clinton made fun of himself for being chunky. Reagan made fun of his age. We saw all those jokes.
Right.
Obama does some of that, but he attacks his adversaries like a political comic, attacking people we don't like or agree with, so people are laughing at them. And
let's face it, because they are hecklers. At this point, they're really not political opponents. They're like hecklers at a bad comedy club.
You suck!
You lie.
Yeah,
Remember that point?
Exactly.
They really do heckle him.
Yeah.
We've had the President Obama. We've never seen a president like this called up. Remember during the State of the Union at a White House press conference, called a right-wing Daily Caller reporter says, you lie and that kind of crap. I mean, so he's got to deal with it. He's got thicker skin. And I go through it. I put some of my funny lines. I hope people go to the Daily Beast and check out the article. They put it on the front page. So please help me out and check out the articles. Please. My other articles up there.
But I think your point is well taken. Is you say he's the greatest president ever in terms of using comedy. How he uses. It's not to say that other presidents.
Kennedy was funny as well.
Yeah.
Sure. That wasn't really the standard. It wasn't about the funnies. He's changed it. I think any president going forward was going to use this. And I mean. And there's some great jokes. He's really cutting jokes. Early in the White House Correspondents' Dinner, 2009 and 10, his first few, much more self-deprecating. Like he said here, and he made fun of his own people. Like he said, in the next 100 days, I will learn to go off the teleprompter, and Joe Biden will learn to stay on the teleprompter. So he's making fun of his own guy Biden, who says crazy stuff. That's like the cute stuff. Then we get 2011. It's SmackDown, baby. Bring it on. It's a steel cage match, and he's walking out the winner. He's got the belt, and he's the king. And
yeah, my favorite you quoted was about Donald Trump. He just decimated Donald Trump, and you could see from Donald Trump's face that he knew it. He was not amused, as they say in the comedy business.
And you remember that dinner in 2011 where Obama crushed Trump? That was a time when Obama had just released his birth certificate because Trump would not shut up about that. And Trump was actually hinting he was going to run for president. And Obama, he did 3 jokes at Trump's expense. I mean, you don't see a president attacking people like an opponent like that. 3 full jokes, even a video thing. Making fun of him on Celebrity Apprentice, saying, you have great credentials. I mean, I saw Celebrity Apprentice, you had a choice. Who would you pick, Little John or Meatloaf? But you fired Gary Busey, and those are the kind of decisions that keep me up at night. And the audience is laughing and howling at Trump. And Trump, remember, he didn't laugh?
Yeah, oh, God,
and then Seth Meyers went on and killed him afterwards, and that was the end of Trump's run for president.
Yeah, it was great. And I missed this show. Great stuff as usual, and we will talk next week, and we'll do a review.
Thanks a lot, guys.
We'll do a review.
And we'll see you on MSNBC tomorrow night.
Hopefully,
yes.
God willing. All right, thanks.
All right. Bye, honey. There he goes. Dean Oblivi. Life goes on.
Yeah.
And the show goes on.
It does.
All right, let me take one quick one. Frank in Arizona, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hello, Frank.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Go ahead.
I just had one comment on the death penalty. These people that commit these crimes, call them sociopaths, call them what you want. I call them mentally ill. A lot of them, they just have something's wrong, something that won't allow them to comprehend that what they do is so heinous. And I think it's a sad commentary on our society that we just execute our mentally ill randomly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, right. Yeah, thank you, honey, among other reasons. All right, real quick, a love letter. Jesse in Houston, we forgot something yesterday. It was May Day,
Uh-huh.
May Day, we could have a parade.
Serve hot hors d'oeuvres.
Jesse in Houston. Staff, my name is Jesse. I live in Houston, Texas. My husband, Paul, and I have been together for 12 years today. That was yesterday, though. Sorry, guys. I was wondering if you could be so kind as to wish him a happy anniversary from you and the Mooks. Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary.
He's been listening since 2009 and listens every day on your podcast. What a fabulous idea. I like to think of him as the official, hurry up, babe, I'm listening to Stephanie Miller guy of the Stephanie Miller Show. There you go. When he's listening to you at home, he likes to dance around with our cat Mary to Walking on Sunshine. She runs away when the song comes on.
You can't dance with cats.
And quotes
you
bits
can dance with wolves, apparently.
Yeah. And quotes bits and things from your show daily. Say hello to Max and Fred. Hi, Max. Hi, Fred. And thank you for being a shining light in the darkness that is Texas. Oh, please, Governor Wendy Davis, please let it be. I heard somebody on the TV machine saying that they thought it could happen. It could happen.
Okay.
Let's ask Judy Tenuta what she thinks. It's the only answer I want.
Yeah.
All right. 16 minutes after the hour, this hour of the Stephanie Miller Show brought to you by No Pro. Yeah. Whenever I see celebrities out here in Hollywood with that perfect hair-free skin, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I always want to know how they do it. Well, I asked some of my friends the insider tip for getting that smooth skin without all the hassle. No Pro. Celebrities and models tossing those razors and expensive salon treatments, switching to No Pro for weeks of long-lasting results. I decided to give it a try, and it is incredible. I have given them to friends, and they say it's incredible. It is the best way to remove unwanted hair with no pain. Your legs, arms, bikini-lined face, for guys, your chest or back. You will love how easy this is to use. And professional results you get right from home. Who wants to drive? Who wants to park? Who wants to pay for expensive treatments? Ditch the razors and salon treatment. Switch to No Pro. You will be thrilled. No Pro comes with a 100% 60-day money-back guarantee. Plus, when you purchase, No is giving you a $50 gift card to a dermatologist-recommended and award-winning skincare line, plus a free travel case. Just go to NoNoStephanie.com to get these free gifts. That's NoNoStephanie.com. NoNoStephanie.com. Do it. 17 minutes after the hour. Right back on the Stephanie Miller Show.
Called it.
It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Ho! Who are you calling a hoe? 21 minutes after the hour. Bob Schrum coming up at the bottom of the hour. 1-800-STEPH1 to the phone number, toll free from anywhere. All right, if I have to, stop sending me the story. More bad news for Rush Limbaugh. Ratings imploding.
Did you read the story yesterday?
No, I didn't get to all the details. Okay. More bad news for Rush Limbaugh. You know I don't engage in the
Schadenfreude.
Jim, how did this get here? Why, how did this get right next to me? This giant framed picture of Miller's KTLK show rates #2 ranking, which is really hard on a signal that crappy here in Los Angeles, by the way. Tom, did you do that? Did you put that right near me? That is crazy. Don't do that. Oh, look, here's the story. Media Matters has just reported more negative ratings that began after Limbaugh made his move in January to the new Southern California station KEIB. See, they named it after him.
Yep. Excellence in broadcasting.
Oh, gosh, you just don't get it, L.A. Would you like the fun facts, Chris?
Sure.
3 months later, this is the follow-up story.
Okay.
3 months later, Limbaugh's KEIB is a ratings disaster, coming in 37th place. Sorry, let me just review. Oh, we were second. Okay. In the second largest radio market with a 0.5 rating share in March. How small is KEIB's audience? So small that 11 non-English radio stations have larger audiences in Los Angeles.
Sure.
And so small that KEIB actually trails 4 college-run non-commercial stations in the market.
It's true.
Oh, sorry.
Expressives in broadcasting.
This for a man who makes $40 million a year to attract big radio audiences. As for KFI, the station left. Oh, and I used to be on there and had really good ratings too. It's weird. Big signal, big 50,000 watt signal.
Yeah, I heard in like 12 western states at night.
Yeah. As for the station Limbaugh left and would switch to an all-local news and talk format, its ratings remain healthy in the talker's absence. A top 10 station, KFI boasts an audience 6 times larger than KEIB's. And on the East Coast, where Limbaugh was king, he's now ranked 22nd, trailing 4 non-English stations and 1 classical station. Let's see. I don't like to engage in nostalgia, Chris. I'm just saying, back when it was a very strong progressive lineup in the beginning before they watered it down.
Yep. Stop promoting it.
Right. Progressive Talk, KTLK, AM 1150, celebrating Miller High Life. These days, after the news that in the talk show universe, Stephanie Miller's 6 to 9 a.m. weekday show is #2 behind KFI 640 a.m. Bill Handel in the Los Angeles, Orange County Arbitron ratings. That's interesting. But Jim, liberal talk doesn't really work.
Right.
I was just mentioning that at many of my sold-out sexy liberal comedy shows. Okay, all right, I'll stop now. Bitter, party of one. Hello, Jim. Jim in Chicago, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Stephanie.
Yes, hello.
Regarding the death penalty and the guy Clayton Lockett, who was put to death in Oklahoma.
Yes.
I just don't understand how liberals are trying to make this man some sort of a victim.
Nobody's trying to make him a victim. It's a comment on the death penalty. Do you think that's okay in a civilized society to have execution? Even if you believe in it, you don't think we should do it right? It's about it being botched.
So we should bring back electrocution, which obviously I think worked much better than death by lethal injection.
No, I think lethal injection worked. I think that they're doing this new combination of drugs that's experimental that they haven't perfected.
Right. They haven't tested it.
That is such a misnomer to try and say that liberals have sympathy for this murderer. It's not. That's not about that. You know, people can have feelings about the death penalty. It doesn't have to do with thinking he's a great guy.
But I've heard you countless times on the radio whenever a state has done something to...
No wonder my ratings are so much better than Russia's. Yeah. What? I'm sorry.
And, you celebrate that as if, that's a good thing. So you can't say that you're actually in favor
celebrate
of the death penalty, correct?
What does she celebrate?
Whenever, like, a state, like when Illinois abolished the death penalty, you guys were all, oh, what great news this is.
Well, because so many people being wrongly executed. Because
innocent people were executed, so the Republican governor is the one that put a moratorium on the death penalty.
That's right.
George Ryan really wasn't a Republican, if you think about it.
He was a Republican. He caucused with Republicans, so yes, he is a Republican.
I'm going to have sympathy, and I'm going to euthanize this call because he was. You know what?
You liberals.
He was doing so badly.
You liberals, you just love murderers.
That was a mercy killing of that call.
Yeah.
God. I just put him gently to sleep.
Wow.
I put that phone line gently to sleep because I was like, all right, this is not going to get better for you. Yes, that's all I talked about yesterday. What a great guy that murderer was. Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Moron.
Boy. All right.
Yeah,
hey,
you liberals.
I wonder if Rush Limbaugh's ratings has to do with things like this. I don't know. If you're checking any of the recent polls or recent court rulings, homophobia, kind of thing of the past. Like, a lot of other, Donald Sterling, bye-bye, racism. We've changed. We have changed as a society. Oh, here he is about Don Lemon. Was this gratuitous or not?
Over at CNN, they interpreted that to mean that I was defending Sterling. How did they get there? I don't know how they get there. Aaron Burnett played the soundbite and then went to Mr. Black Hole himself, Don Lemon, who sleeps with men, proudly, for comment, and this is what he said.
If we didn't know then that Rush Limbaugh is a stunt king, then we know now, because there's no excuse for this behavior. There's no excuse for anyone to try to make an excuse for someone like Donald Sterling. Clearly, he's just trying to get the attention.
They took a discussion of Sterling and turned it into my behavior.
So anything Don Lemon says should be discounted because he sleeps with men proudly?
With men. Yeah.
I see. So
and
maybe
Rush takes vacations to the Dominican Republic.
So maybe if he were ashamed, it would be better. But because he sleeps with men proudly.
Wish I could tell you what I did, my friends, but I can't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He said that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Shep Smith, in a completely unrelated story that has nothing to do with anything that I just said, said the Gawker report on Fox is horse... Really? Which part? Which part is... A few days ago, Gawker claimed Fox News had prevented him from coming out on air, citing anonymous sources who claimed Roger Ailes, network chief, didn't believe their audience was ready for a gay anchor. In a memo circulated yesterday, because they dismissed the Gawker report. Which parts? Staying there, of course. Well, okay. I guess the good news is he's out now. I don't know. I don't know which part is untrue.
Who can say?
All right. Political strategist Bob Shrum next on the Stephanie Miller Show. That's me. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy new job numbers. and Obamacare saved the economy from contraction. That's right. Thanks, Obama. No, really. Okay. Bob Shrum, you see him all over the TV, and now he pops out of the television right onto our radios. Hello, Bob Shrum. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
I did not know you were out here at the University of Southern California, my alma mater.
Yeah, I start in a month or so, and we're going to do some really interesting stuff, I think, in terms of teaching practical politics and doing some other programs. It's a chair called the Warshaw Chair of Practical Politics. Founded by and funded by an extraordinary woman, Carmen Warshaw, who was and proudly called herself the Dragon Lady of Democratic politics for about 50 years.
Good for her. Well, let me see two things. One, fight on for old SC. And number two, tell them...
Fight on for victory.
Right. Number two, tell them get off their duffs and vote in the midterms.
Well, that is the biggest problem that Democrats face right now.
I know.
Is getting these folks to turn out. I mean, Democrats have an advantage on almost every single issue that's polled, but the intensity factor favors Republicans. We saw what happened in 2010, and I think it could happen again in 2014.
Yeah, that's what I keep having that nightmare every night, Bob, because I'm a political geek like you. But yes, I have that cold sweat nightmare of 2010 again. And it must be frustrating to strategists like you that have watched this for so many years. You're right. If you look at each and every issue, American people way out ahead on every issue. Agreeing exactly with the president and with Democrats.
Well, but you have young people tend not to vote. Minorities tend not to vote in midterms. Now, the Republicans in 2012 thought young people were not going to turn out the way they had in 2008, that minorities weren't going to turn out, and African-American turnout was actually higher than white turnout in 2012. So the resources, and there is a shifting of resources going on in the Democratic Party, moving toward putting more money into get out the vote, voter contact, the kind of things that Obama did in 2012. So we'll have to see if that has an impact and can break the historical pattern.
Yeah, interesting. Well, and if any stories show how out of step they are with the mainstream, it's this piece you wrote, Who to Blame for Donald Sterling and Cliven Bundy.
Yeah.
Doesn't that show, in some ways, whether it's, racism, homophobia, any of this stuff we talk about, they are so out of step with the American public. You write, the Clippers owner and Nevada rancher will soon be forgotten as racist cranks, but if we want a new chapter of true equality and respect, we need a new politics, especially from the GOP. Because, as other people have pointed out, Bob, they just didn't use the polite code words that a lot of the mainstream Republicans do to say the same thing, right?
Well, this all started, when Democrats took up the issue of civil rights, when JFK and LBJ demanded a civil rights bill, and it finally passed in the 60s. And Johnson himself was aware that this could cost, and he said this, could cost the Democrats the South for a generation. But Richard Nixon, with the Southern strategy, kind of institutionalized this. It was a politics of resentment. And we reached a point wherein a lot of states in the South, you don't need to know someone's party registration. You just need to know what the color of their skin is, and if they're white, they're a Republican.
Yeah.
But it isn't just directed toward African Americans. It's also directed now toward women who are becoming more independent. It's directed toward gay people, and we see that all the time. It's directed toward Hispanics and immigrants.
Yeah.
It's I think a group of people who just aren't comfortable with the changing character of the country. This country is headed for being a majority of minorities.
Yeah, and
there are folks who can't stand that.
Right, and you say here the press could have spent news cycle after news cycle focusing on the tendency of too many Republicans to fellow travel with extremists such as Bundy if Sterling hadn't burst into the headlines. That really, as you say, you also write, Bundy, too, will just be an empty 10-gallon hat if and when he's ultimately held to account. He will just be another right-wing crank who despises federal, benefits, except if it's lavished on him, a welfare queen of the purple sagebrush, as Paul Krugman said. But yeah, as you say, Bundy's crude racism left Cruz, Paul, Fox News flee a lawbreaker they never should have embraced in the first place.
Well, and Rand Paul's trying to have it both ways. He's now out there. He went to the Kennedy School, the Institute of Politics at Harvard, and said that the Republican Party couldn't survive and couldn't thrive if every time you looked at it, it was just composed, every Republican audience was just composed of white people. But his rhetoric doesn't match his record. This guy who voted against the Violence Against Women Act, opposes abortion rights even in cases of rape and incest, opposes citizenship for children born of undocumented immigrants.
He voted against ENDA, as you say. He's against letting same-sex couples marry.
And he says there's no problem with voter suppression and no problem with blacks having access to the ballot in the South. That's all just wrong. But when you say that, and this is the Republican Party's dilemma, we were talking about 2014, and they do have an advantage, A, in turnout, and B, because the congressional districts are so heavily gerrymandered. But in 2016, they have a huge disadvantage in the presidential campaign. And it's not just that Hillary Clinton is, I think, going to run and going to be a very strong nominee. It is that the Republicans are far out of the mainstream of a presidential electorate. The rising America, the rising constituencies, don't respond to the kinds of things that we just talked about, voting against the Violence Against Women Act, all that. That precludes you from being president.
But as you point out here, Bob, you say, Rand Paul is not the exception, but a paradigm in a Republican Party that has doubled down on the Southern strategy. I mean, all it seems they have is these voter suppression things and gerrymandering, right? And dark money.
Yeah, well, that's a way to temporarily try to hold on to or expand your power at the congressional level.
Ironic, by the way, that they don't like dark people, but they like dark money very, very much.
That's very good. I wish I'd thought of that one.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. But,
I mean,
go ahead.
You have a situation where older white voters, and of course I'm older and I'm white, but I don't fall into this category, just can't abide what's happening in the country. And when you look at these Tea Party rallies and they're screaming, "Take our country back," who do they want to take it back from? They want to take it back from the African-American guy who's president.
Right.
They want to take it back from the Hispanics who are becoming an increasing part of our population.
They
want to take it back from the women who are going out and pursuing careers and having lives instead of staying at home and just obeying their husband.
Yes, I speak as one of those uppity women. Interesting, Bob. I'm reading a headline: Dark money independent groups dominating ad war in 2012. And, John Paul Stevens, as just spoke out, former Supreme Court Justice, and said, money is not free speech. And this is exactly what we knew was going to happen. Independent groups, especially those supporting the Republican Party, are dominating the air wars ahead of the 2014 midterms, according to a new report. Overall, independent groups, there they are again, led by the Koch brothers, accounted for 49% of the $62.2 million in broadcast and national cable advertising purchased for the 2014 election. And the majority of the spending during this time, 58%, came from dark money nonprofits that do not disclose their donors, and the majority of these groups support, of course, Republicans, right? This advertising backs up the finding that Republican donors have largely fled the disclosed world of super PACs for the anonymous world of dark money. So here we go, right? How big an effect is that going to have?
Oh, well, it's going to have a big effect, and it takes us back to the era of the robber baron in the 19th century, when they poured money into campaigns like William McKinley's and managed to dominate the process. That was broken when Theodore Roosevelt became president. But it's also why 2016 is so important, because the next president is going to appoint a series of Supreme Court justices. I think that's absolutely clear. And if you have Hillary Clinton, you're going to change the Supreme Court. This dark money thrives and exists now because of a 5-4 decision that essentially holds that corporations are people. And I think a subsequent Supreme Court can overturn that precedent, because that precedent is A, new, and B, out of step with the court going all the way back to Buckley v. Vallejo when the original campaign finance reforms were passed.
Yep. I mean, it's interesting. I call myself a happy clappy liberal because, and I do think that there's been a lot of media storylines that have been wrong, right? I mean, so I can only hope that, we've heard the storyline forever. The Democrats are doomed in the midterms and all of that, but we've also heard Obamacare's a disaster. I just saw a montage on TV last night about every Republican saying it's a complete disaster. Well, that's obviously not true now, right?
So you have millions of people who are getting health care, and it's not just the 8 million who've signed up on the exchanges, or the 3 million kids who are on their parents' health insurance, or the millions more who signed up through Medicaid. You have 100 million people who now benefit from preventive health services, and many of them didn't have them before. I mean, women have access to mammograms, free mammograms. That's a huge step forward. It's going to save a lot of lives. And I want to see these Republicans answer the question, what are they going to do to replace this? Because right now what they're talking about, Mitch McConnell in Kentucky is basically talking about taking health care away from 400,000 people.
Well, that's right. And I think the other thing that's starting to break through are these positive, true Obamacare stories rather than the phony, horror stories. This one, the self-employed logger, this is the one, Bob, I don't know if you've heard about it, that's really, I think, caught on with the coaching of a liberal friend, moved past his hostility to Obamacare, purchased a health plan just in time for heart valve replacement surgery. Right. His story is the ACA supporters' holy grail, a hard-nosed opponent of Obamacare who saw the light after it literally saved his life. He said the ACA is everything it's supposed to be, and in fact it's better than it's made out to be. That is their worst nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, I don't quote Ted Cruz very often, back when he was shutting down the government,
right.
He said, we have to do this now. We have to stop Obamacare before it goes into effect, because once it goes into effect and you have millions of people benefiting from it, it's going to be impossible to repeal it. I think John Boehner knows that, the Speaker of the House. And Kathy McMorris Rogers, who's in the Republican leadership, got in trouble last week for saying, we can't really repeal Obamacare, we can improve it. And she had to backtrack because her own caucus got angry at her. But I think that is the reality. That is the fact. And, you know, I think you may be right. This issue could play out very differently in the midterms than Republicans anticipate.
Yeah, let's hope so. Bob, always great to talk to you. Thanks so much for taking time for us.
I really enjoyed it.
And fight on for all this.
Okay. Fight on for Democratic victory.
That's right. There you go. Thank you, Bob. All right.
Yeah, he's awesome.
46 minutes after the hour, right back on the Stephanie Miller Show.
Well, Christine McVie didn't stop thinking about tomorrow because she's back with the band.
That's right. That's right. 51 minutes after the hour, or as my mom would say, Republican doofuses, how about this one? She's new. Who's that? A Republican Senate candidate likens food stamp recipients to wild animals. Oh, dear. Let's see. The candidate, doctor. She's a doctor. Not sure of what. Dr. Annette Bosworth.
She's a doctor of BSology.
Dr. Annette Bosworth is running in the Republican primary to succeed Tim Johnson of South Dakota, who is retiring. He's the Democrat.
Okay.
Oh, look at this. She said, she put it on her little Facebook page there. The food stamp program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, her graphic reads. They proudly report that they distribute free meals and food stamps to over 46 million people on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the National Park Service, run by the U.S. Department of the Interior, asks us, please do not feed the animals. Their stated reason for this policy is that animals will grow dependent on handouts, and then they will never learn to take care of themselves. This concludes today's lessons. Any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Ayn Rand.
Wow.
Yes. Why is an idiot like you running for anything?
And how did you get a doctorate?
Yeah. What are you a doctor of?
Yeah.
Exactly. I would like to know. All right, we were talking to Bob Shrum about, and I've been saying this, that more and more candidates are running on Obamacare, which, good. Salon has a piece, GOP candidates freak out moment as Obamacare horror stories flops. What's left?
Right.
Well, we already know. Benghazi. Candidates like Scott Brown, the Senator Fold, thought they would win by attacking health reform. Looks like it's time to recalibrate fast.
Good.
It feels strange to say this, they write in Salon, maybe a bit premature, but we seem to be past the era of the viral Obamacare victim story. Then they mentioned Julie Boonstra. That was the famous one, that she was the Obamacare horror story victim, which it turns out she's going to save a lot of money with her new insurance, so that story, that story exploded like a dead whale.
It did.
Yes, it did.
Well, didn't reporters actually do the research for her?
And then they handed it to her like a polite chipmunk. She was like, oh, thank you very much.
After you. Oh, no, you first. Thank you.
Because
she better coverage, and it's cheaper. Thank you.
Because she couldn't even be bothered to check for herself on the Obamacare website?
Right.
But she knew it was bad,
right.
Obviously.
Right.
Just knew.
Because that's what Fox News told her.
So I was mentioning this, the self-employed logger who, with the coaching of a liberal friend, finally, literally, it saved his life. Obamacare, and so, he's their worst case. That's their horror story. Somebody had said, I hated Obamacare because of Obama. I got it. It saved my life.
It works.
Hey,
Kentucky.
What? Okay, I'm not doing the creepy person. What do you got over there in Kentucky? There's actually been a steady trickle of these sorts of stories starting to break through the gloom and doom coverage of the Affordable Care Act. Scott Brown, running in New Hampshire with a repeal Obamacare message. How's that working out for you? Caught an earful from a Republican state representative who'd had his monthly premium slashed by the ACA, and we talked about Rick Scott. He went looking for Obamacare horror stories at a senior center.
Couldn't find a single one.
They were like, lovely, very excited, very good, very satisfied. Thanks for coming. Just continue melting and go away now.
Exactly.
Continue melting like the Nazi in Raiders.
At the end of Raiders of Lost Ark, yes.
NPR reported this week on Obamacare enrollees who, free from the threat of losing their health coverage, quit jobs they hated to start their own businesses. We're starting to see positive ACA stories break through the noise and take on a life of their own. Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
No. It's their worst nightmare.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Ha-ha. And Neener. I'm sure Rush Limbaugh will continue to tell his 3 listeners about. I'm not going to bring that up again. Do not make me, Jim. That is just rude to point out that Rush Limbaugh's ratings are in complete collapse.
I wonder if somehow on his show today he's going to tie that story to Obama.
Probably.
He'll find a way.
Conspiracy, my friend. To deny people my pearls of wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. All right, 18 minutes after the hour. This hour of the Stephanie Miller Show brought to you by No Pro. I know you wonder, how do I look so smooth? How do I look so hairless? If you watch it on Free Speech TV.
Because 10 years ago, you were just like a big furball.
Werewolves of Lockport. I use No Pro. Thanks for asking. Or it used to be like that scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin. It used to be very, very painful.
Kelly Clarkson!
Celebrities and models that have been tossing razors and expensive salon treatments switching to No Pro. You get weeks of long-lasting results. None of those nicks from blades, scratches, rashes, all that stuff. It is incredible. Literally the best way to remove unwanted hair with no pain. Whether it's your legs, arms, bikini line, face, guys, for your chest or your back, you will love how easy this is to use and the professional results you get right from home. Salon treatments are expensive. Forget about it. Ditch the razors. Ditch the salon treatments. Switch to No Pro. You will be thrilled. No Pro comes with a 100% 60-day money-back guarantee. Plus, when you purchase, No is giving you that $50 gift card to a dermatologist-recommended and award-winning skincare line, plus a free travel case. Go to NoNoStephanie.com right now to get these free gifts. That's NoNoStephanie.com. NoNoStephanie.com. All right, 19 minutes after the hour, we roll along on the Stephanie Miller Show. Happy Friday. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. 24 minutes after the hour, 1-800-STEPH-12. Jim in Detroit, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hi, Jim.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, I heard you mention Julie Boonstra. She was my next-door neighbor for 6 years.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, not kidding at all. And I saw how she was well, and then all of a sudden this cancer started to progress upon her. Also, her daughter, who was seen in that commercial, was having some health problems.
Right.
I think the whole thing speaks more to the desperate situation of the health care that we had up until that point, and just the way that the right wing jumped on it and used her for strictly to get rid of Gary Peters is
right. Talk about people not really caring about actually helping real people get real health care. They didn't help her. Right. It was a journalist that said, "Oh, here, if you go on the exchange, you can get insurance and get a better plan for cheaper." I mean,
are they helping taking care of her bills at all? No.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I mean. They just want to use people as pawns, and you'd think that, I mean, it was her, and then she was one of the Koch brothers and then there was the other woman that Kathy Chuck Norris Rogers used.
Yeah.
In the, but that's the official State of the Union response. The Republicans, the woman she cited, that story completely blew up like a blue whale.
Actually, it was a sperm whale.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that one you showed me was?
The one I showed you
The
was
other one was a blue whale.
Yeah.
So the sperm whale blew?
The sperm whale, there she blows.
Okay. That's a mess.
That was a big mess.
That is a mess. I'd like to get a screenshot of that. Don't say it, Jim. All right. By the way, here's just a cautionary tales for the weekend. Do not try to take a selfie with a squirrel, like the teenager in Maine. And do not try to take a picture of an angry beaver this weekend, everybody.
Oh, okay.
This is from Canada.
Oh, there goes my weekend.
What are you saying about your lovely wife? Angry beaver delays traffic, roams around, when it causes a traffic jam, that is...
Yeah.
It's in Canada, around Miramichi. That's up in Canada?
I guess so.
All right. This is a boot then. An angry beaver was roaming around Miramichi on Tuesday, creating traffic delays and chasing onlookers. That is an angry beaver. It's not a nice beaver.
Nice beaver.
No, it's an angry beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
It may have just been stuffed, though.
Jim O'Neill was driving his taxi when he noticed a man being chased by a beaver off King George Highway. You look out of the corner of your eye and you see a beaver backing somebody up the driveway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, I live next to a boy band, and I have seen that. Just saying.
I caught my first glimpse of him the other day. He was driving away as I was driving away.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
So O'Neill stopped the cab and took out his camera, snapping a few pictures. He got about 2.5 meters, as they say in Canada.
Yeah.
Away from the beaver before it turned on him. Let's see. He slapped his tail on the driveway, slapped his front feet on the ground. He came on. So I backed it up to try again. He got quite aggressive. They do not like paparazzi, Beaver. Sergeant somebody said the damn thing was lost. It was going down the street. We didn't do nothing. We just showed up and seen what it was.
Was it Sergeant somebody of the Yukon? Who was that guy?
No. The guys left it alone, told the citizens to leave it alone, and went on its way where it was going. See, that's the difference in Canada. In America, someone would have blown it away. They just let it go about its business. And now
Literally.
They let it go, let it go.
And then they fed it some pasta and sent him away in a Mazda.
Okay. All right. Samuel Jackson apparently likes his porn, but he wants it for free, according to TMZ. He was at a news conference for the new Captain America movie.
Okay.
When he was asked to name one of the best pop culture achievements of the last 50 years, and he said RedTube. That is a free porn sharing website, Jim. I'm sure you don't know. I'm just letting you know.
As he furiously types in
Wait a minute, how do you spell?
Oh, hello.
Now, this is a completely unrelated story from the Angry Beaver story, but now some actors in the skin biz are demanding an apology from him. They said superheroes don't steal porn.
I've got news for them. Everybody steals porn.
Well, it is their living, and they would like him to stop it. Stop it, Samuel Jackson. Oh, speaking of mad, Robin Thicke has threatened legal action over three-way claims. He is threatening to take legal action over a report that he and his estranged wife were involved in a three-way relationship with a masseuse. Star Magazine reported that Thicke and Patton had been involved in a consensual relationship with a massage therapist named Jasmine, which took a disastrous turn when Paula discovered in the worst possible way that the masseuse and Robin were carrying on a separate affair behind her back. Don't you hate when that happens, when you're having a perfectly family value-oriented three-way,
right.
And then two of the people break off like a breakaway state like Crimea and start getting it on without you? Oh.
Yeah, Crimea and Russia totally got it on.
All right, 29 minutes after the hour. Right back on the Stephanie Miller Show. I was tending to housewife things. Okay, it is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. 34 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEPH12.
That's adorable.
Sorry. Hey, you know I am on it when there's trouble in minibands.
Right.
Okay, there's some trouble in a new reality show about LA's Little Women. You know, like little women that are in minibands.
Okay, sure.
Is already running into big legal problems. It's all because the show's Little Britney lookalike is allegedly acting like the real Britney. Jeff Beecher from Beecher's Madhouse has sent a cease and desist letter to producers behind Lifetime's new show Little Women L.A.
Okay.
Why was I not informed of this show in advance? Telling them to watch their little backs, when it comes to one of the show's stars, Elena Gant.
Okay.
She's famously worked at Beecher's Vegas Theater doing her Little Britney act, and Beecher wants the TV producers to know that he owns the Little Britney shtick, and they better not try to lift it. He says he also owns the copyright for Little Britney as well as Little Miley, Little Kesha, Little Gaga, and Little Katy Perry, and is prepared to sue any of those. I don't think. I mean, it's only the ladies. It's not the mini kisses of the world.
Or Sir Mix-a-Little?
So mini.
No.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. And when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung. Wanna pull out the stuff 'cause you know that butt was stuck. Even if she's wearing, I'm hooked and I can't stop staring. Oh baby, I wanna get whipped out and take your picture. My homeboy tried to warn me, but that's what you got me. Baby got ballet.
Okay. Is Minnie Katy Perry's, is her body a wonderland as well? Let's ask Minnie John Mayer.
But I bet she's kissed a mini girl. Pardon me? All right.
Instead of roar, it's just meow.
Okay. Man punished for loud Celine Dion music.
Oh, well.
Listen, I feel this guy's pain because, you remember when the gay neighbors moved in up there with the share music 24/7? Yeah. Yeah, very big fans of the Do You Believe? A UK man was banned from playing Celine Dion and had his music collection taken away after ignoring a noise ban, according to a video. Neighbors complained to officials after he repeatedly blasted My Heart Will Go On.
Oh my God.
During the afternoon and evening hours, as well as other tunes such as James Brown's Love Machine. That's not a bad one. And the theme from Toy Story. Okay. Yeah, I think there ought to be a law against that. Over and over, his heart will go on. All right, never mind. It's too late. All right. Here's someone who has a sadder life than I do. But you know how I love these stories. Man aspires to own every VHS copy of Speed. So you know I love
everyone
me
needs
some,
a hobby.
You know I love me some Sandra Bullock. I watched Miss Congeniality 2 again on cable last night.
That'd be really
There was a
impressive
sequel?
if he collected copies in beta.
That'd be sad. And Idaho man is aspiring to be the sole owner of every VHS copy of the movie Speed.
I don't understand why.
He says, funny you should ask, his obsession started with a joke when he bought 6 copies of the movie from a pawn shop 7 years ago. So far, he has 550 copies of the film, and his obsession has gone viral. He said, we are running a Kickstarter to get the van fixed up and painted like the bus from the movie Speed. Oh, dear. It's so we can travel across the country, come to your town, and get copies of Speed. I am never giving up. I can't stop my whole life because I'll never know. So I'll die looking for Speed.
Everyone needs a hobby, I suppose.
Right. Okay, that did make me feel just momentarily better about myself. It was a little glimmer of light in an otherwise dark period. How about this one? Jennifer Lawrence was drunk at the Oscars. I thought so.
Yeah.
She does trip a little too much for,
A little bit.
Yeah. And puked at an after party.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I just think I'm gonna die.
You know it's a bad sign when Miley Cyrus is telling you to shape up, but that's what happened. When she points the giant styrofoam finger at you. You are a mess. Jen said she was so drunk she puked on the stairs at Madonna's after party. And Miley walked by and said something like, "Get it together, girl."
Oh, that's awesome. I love that story.
Spectacular.
Get it together, girl.
All right. Why do we not get invited to things like this at our colleague at Sirius XM Howard Stern show? Billy Joel was on it. Apparently they had this was a show. Sirius XM's Howard 100 channel.
I was actually listening to this yesterday.
You were?
I was.
Billy Joel made the admission that he once tried heroin during an intimate town hall moderated by Howard Stern and our good friend, our close personal friend Robin Quivers.
Sure.
She's been on the show once, and that's close enough for Radio
Absolutely.
Lab.
And she enjoyed you.
I love her.
Lerv?
Asked if he had any regrets, Joel said, if you have no regrets, what kind of life do you have? See, now I feel better about all my regrets.
He regrets having started the fire.
He didn't start the fire. No, he didn't.
Finally copped to it.
No, he didn't. He didn't start the fire.
Actually, he kind of regrets writing that song.
Yeah.
He regrets ordering the bottle of red and the bottle of white. One regret he said he had was leaving Woodstock before Jimi Hendrix's performance.
Oh, that was dumb.
That's bad. That is bad. He said he left early because the portable toilets weren't adequate. Oh, he might have been having an event. Oh, well.
You probably had the brown acid.
Yeah, that just runs right through you.
See what he did there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Monday's event also featured live performances by Pink, Melissa Etheridge, Boyz II Men.
I heard the Pink part.
Adina Menzel, or as John Travolta would say, Flingarngamin.
He and
And Tony Bennett.
Yeah, he and Pink sang "She's Only a Woman to Me" together. It was gorgeous. Yeah.
How do we get up in the cast system at Sirius XM to get invited to the Howard events? Why?
Well, those events are in New York, and
I don't
we're
care.
not.
I'll be there like that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Billy Joel toying with the idea now of forming a band with fellow artists Sting and Don Henley.
Ooh,
he said, "I liked it." Right? He said, "I liked being in a band. Someday we might put together a silly supergroup." What's so silly about supergroups? I think that'd be cool. All right. Star Wars. What is it called? Star Wars Episode 7. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3. So after 6 is 7. You're gonna have 7, 8, 9.
This could be good. I'm not a Star Wars person, but it sounds a little cluster to me because there's all the old cast and then a whole new cast.
Oh, sure.
Right. In addition to Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill, there's the girl star Adam Driver.
Oh yes.
Max von
Sydow.
And I would know him from
The Exorcist.
And
okay.
Hannah and Her Sisters, and Seventh Seal, of course.
Yes, where he played chess with death.
Mm-hmm.
Who won?
The Ingmar Bergman movie where he played chess with death.
I didn't see that. Okay.
He was in black and white. You wouldn't have. You would have been bored.
No. It was Sandra Bullock in it? I didn't see it.
And it's in Swedish.
Yeah.
With
Put in subtitles.
Subtitles? No.
No.
She says no.
No, don't do the subtitles. The headline is Kim and Kanye are having a low-key courthouse wedding this week, except that that's in a headline, so maybe it's
Not all that low-key.
Right.
I'm sure E! has a reality special about it.
They have a huge blowout wedding scheduled to go down in France next month, but the two are actually getting married in a secret.
Not secret anymore.
Does that sentence make sense? In a secret ceremony, according to CMZ.
Which will be happening here at this time.
Right. The courthouse wedding.
Don't tell anybody. It's a secret.
It was supposed to be strictly on the QT, involving a special confidential marriage license, but somehow it leaked out. That's so weird. How does that happen with? Just like her sex tape did originally. It's weird. Generating additional headlines.
I had no idea.
Wow, the major event everyone is expecting will still happen too, likely on May 24th. Put that on your calendars.
Mm-hmm.
It will cost $28 million, as most of our weddings. Jay-Z is sending a yacht instead of showing up. So there.
Okay, great.
Okay. How did I miss this story? This is even a couple days old. Cameron Diaz reveals she's been with a lady. She's swimming the lady pond.
Mm-hmm.
She was on Watch What Happens Live.
I love it. I watch that show every night.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
I heard it's really good. Andy Cohen.
Yep, it's only a half hour long, so
I can do it.
Yeah.
He asked her if she'd ever slept with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She recently said she thinks all women are sexually attracted to another woman at some point. Hello now.
Okay then.
He wanted to know if she'd ever swam in the lady pond. She played coy with the euphemism before he plainly asked, "Have you ever been with a lady?" Yes, I have been with a lady, she said. Although she wouldn't say if it was she wouldn't say if it was an experience that happened more than once. It happened more than once. Trust me.
She kissed a girl and she liked it.
Oh yeah, because once you kiss a girl, you like it.
Yeah, but the other girl might not have liked it because she doesn't wear deodorant.
That's the other story about Minnesota. You're hot, but yikes.
Oh, wow, you smell.
All right, and we missed this one. Craig Ferguson, that's old news now, but leaving the Late Late Show. I know him, you know. He was a guest on my late night TV show.
Aww.
He was delightful and charming, I thought.
He's very funny.
He is. So there was obviously rumors he was going to get the Letterman spot, but then, his ratings had declined a little bit, and so he obviously didn't get it. He said, "CBS and I are not getting divorced. We are consciously uncoupled." He already has a new job lined up as host of the Celebrity Name Game, a syndicated game show. He says he had planned this before the whole the Letterman replacement thing, so who knows?
Okay.
CBS says it plans to continue the Late Late Show. We'll be searching for another host, and there's another opening at Comedy Central, which is looking to replace the Colbert Report. Mm-hmm. I have two words for you: John, and then Fugelsang.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Do it. Do it, television executive.
Also, E! is looking to replace Chelsea Handler because she's leaving.
John Fugelsang.
Right.
Do it. Send your calls and letters to all of those networks.
Although John has a little bit less estrogen than Chelsea Handler.
Not necessarily. He is quite the feminist, which is what makes him so sexy.
I see.
All right. 45 minutes. Listen, that's my best exercise is beating the chicks off John Fugelsang after Sexy Living. 45 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEP-12, the phone number. We come back with the remaining moments of the Stephanie Miller Show.